Favors pink, favors blue. There I met the one girl in a million, and the girl was you. Sweet, you were the shy love, but you were my love. And that high school cotillion made me know I knew. We were so young, the time was an evening in May. You wore your pale blue organdy, I thought so.
Do you come here often? No, I thought not. You don't look the type. Will we have to wait around much longer, do you think? I wonder if the traffic's delayed her. She always was late. The late Gertrude Lawrence. No, I'm sorry, but I must insist you let me get a word in. You're such a chatterbox. Do you like this line of work, then? Salary decent? Double time on Sundays, I expect. I'm talking too much, aren't I? You may have heard I rather like the sound of my own voice. Of course, we could talk about the weather and everyone's health, but considering it's perpetual summer here, and I'm dead, that would make for a very short, one-sided conversation. Isn't there a bell you can ring or something? A peal of trumpets to tell her to get a move on? Anyway, shouldn't you have an harp, dear? Gertrude and I were cast as angels when we were children, you know. When I first met her, she confided in me that her name was Miss Lawrence, but I was to call her Gert. She gave me half her orange and told me some dirty little stories. There was one time we were so bored, we stuffed ourselves with peppermints, and when the curtain rose, the audience was treated to a vision of two little angels vomiting spectacularly. I loved Gertrude from that moment onwards. It didn't stop me from poking fun at her from time to time, of course. Don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington. Don't put your daughter on the stage. The profession is overcrowded, and the struggle's pretty tough. And admitting the fact she's yearning to act, that isn't quite enough. She has nice hands to give the wretched girl her due, but don't you think her bust is too developed for her age? I repeat, Mrs. Worthington, sweet Mrs. Worthington, don't put your daughter on the stage. Regarding yours, dear Mrs. Worthington, of Wednesday the 23rd, although your baby may be keen on a stage career, how can I make it clear? This is not a good idea for her to hope, dear Mrs. Worthington, is on the face of it absurd. Her personality is not, in reality, exciting enough, inviting enough for this particular sphere. Don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington. Don't put your daughter on the stage. She's a bit of an ugly duckling, you must honestly confess. And the width of her seat would surely defeat our chances of success. It's a loud voice. Though it's not exactly flat, she'll need a little more than that to earn a living wage. On my knees, Mrs. Worthington. Please, Mrs. Worthington, don't put your daughter on the stage. Don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington. Don't put your daughter on the stage. Though they said at the School of Acting she was lovely as Peer Gynt, I think on the whole an Angela role might emphasize her squint. She's a big girl, though her teeth are fairly good. She's not the type I ever would be eager to engage. No more buts, Mrs. Worthington. Nuts, Mrs. Worthington. Don't put your daughter on the stage.
Oh, started without me, I see, dear.
Let's just say I was vamping till ready, shall we, dear?
Shall we?
Mwah.
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 Oh, you. Mwah. Darling, it really has been an age, hasn't it? Do you think the man upstairs has been keeping us apart in case we cause trouble and lead everyone astray? Do you think we've been brought here for a reason? Actually, I'm not entirely certain where here is.
What here? This English country garden? Why, it's purgatory, of course, my dear.
Oh, well, I see the man upstairs has a sense of humour then. Oh, dearie, don't you look smart? I bet that outfit's a bugger to clean, though. Shouldn't you have an up?
Yes, I've done that joke already.
Oh well. Better getting it twice than not at all, that's what I always say. Anyway, I'm here now, and you simply must fill me in on what I've missed. Tell me everything that's been going on with you, and of course, how much you've missed me.
Oh, I haven't had time to miss you. The larks I've had here, you've no idea. The angels are forever popping in asking me to write skits for their amateur dramatic society. I host a regular cabaret evening. Oh, and the Holy Ghost, always popping by, begging for a new theme tune.
Really, dear?
Of course not.
Oh.
It's been unbearable. Never-ending rounds of tea and cucumber sandwiches, and cocktails at 6. It gets somewhat tiresome after the first decade.
Well, anyway, I'm here now. Why am I here, exactly?
I'm not entirely certain, Gert. I was told to expect you this morning, but you still managed to be late.
Do they have mornings here?
Oh, yes. Constantly.
Yeah? Oh.
You have a message from God.
Oh. A telegrammatical message for me, dear? Oh, how divinely delightful. Oh.
No,
Oh.
it's a
Oh.
text.
Oh, what?
A text, it's like a telegram.
Oh, never mind that.
Oh, it is from God.
And what does he have to say for himself?
Let's have a look. Dear Noel and Gert. Oh, is that not a little informal? I was expecting a bit more ceremony, but there you go. Dear Noel and Gert, lovely to have you here. Hope you've settled in nicely. I've brought you here because TBH. What's TBH?
To be honest.
Oh, yes, of course. To be honest, I wasn't entirely certain what else to do with you. Oh, you have a lot of good points, but you also have a myriad of bad ones, and I was far too busy sorting other things out. So I thought I'd let them decide for me. Them? Oh, hello there.
Good God. Where'd you get this rabble from? Is that what we're reduced to these days?
Oh, well, you know, dear, beggars can't be choosers, can they?
I know, but they might have dressed up for the occasion. I know I did.
Oh, well, let's see. I suspect some of them think they did. Take that lady over there. Better luck next time, dear. Anyway, that's what have I said? Oh, I thought I'd let them decide for me. All you have to do is entertain them for a bit, and then they'll decide whether you're heaven sent or hell bound. Oh. Anyway, mustache, have fun. God. Obs. Oh, there's a P.S. P.S. Could we have a little less of the man upstairs business? A gal could get easily upset. Oh. Do you know, I always thought God was a woman. Only a woman could sort everything in less than a week. A man would still be messing about with the light on the Sunday.
So let me see if I've got this right. God can't be bothered to make up her mind where to put us, so she's going to let this lot decide for her. We do a bit of song and dance, and then the great British public vote on it. Because that's always worked so well in the past, hasn't it?
Yes. Well, dear, you know, song and dance is our forte, after all. All we've got to do is give them a bit of that. A little potted history, you know, all the interesting bits about me, obviously.
And what about me? My wit, my comedy, my genius.
Well, that should fill 5 minutes.
Oh. Well, anyway, dear, shall we get the ball rolling?
Oh, I see. Let Muggins warm up the crowd for you. Well, after our stint as little angels, Gert went into the music halls, performing comedy skits and dreadful sorts of tosh, like this.
There is a flower within my heart, Daisy, Daisy, planted one day by a glancing dart, planted by Daisy Bell. Whether she loves me or loves me not, sometimes it's hard to tell, but I am willing to share the lot of beautiful Daisy Bell. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle made for two. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a musical song, so therefore it must be time for a good old-fashioned sing-along, shouldn't it? Yes. Okay, are we ready? See, Daisy, give me your answer, do. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle made for two. Well done, everybody.
Yes. That's enough of that nonsense. Well, whilst Gert was doing that, I had started acting, and then I started writing. Turned my hand to short stories, a bit of cash for fags and gin. And then I started writing plays, and since I couldn't think of anyone better, I'd act in them too. One tart reviewer noted that...
Mr. Coward has a sense of comedy, and if he can overcome a tendency towards smartness, he might produce a good play one of these days.
What a terrible old queen she was. Anyway, in 1923, Gert and I performed together again in a little review I wrote called London Calling. I penned this little number for Gert.
Fantasy in olden days, in varying and different ways, was very much in vogue. spirits at zero, divinely forlorn with exquisite scorn from sunset till dawn. The limbo is calling, your star will be falling as soon as the clock goes round.
And then off you went to America with the show, but without me. I stayed behind in London, performing my own play, The Vortex.
Oh, I missed you terribly, darling. But at least I had Bea to keep me company. Beatrice Lilly was a vaudeville actress, probably best known for her parody songs and gloriously absurd sketches, always performed in that marvellously deadpan and slightly unhinged way of hers. Darling, will you give us a blast of Bea?
If I must.
Yes, you must.
I heard my goldfish yodeling when dawn was in the sky. I heard my goldfish yodeling, a strange lugubrious cry. I roused myself from slumber, I hastened from my bed, because I thought my goldfish might be waiting to be fed. But it wasn't. I heard my goldfish yodeling in the hazy heat of noon. It was a weird and woeful song. I heard my goldfish croon. I left my work, I left my desk, I left my daily duty, because I thought my goldfish might be crying out for beauty. But it wasn't. I heard my goldfish yodeling when evening shadows fell. It sounded like an oboe, and it's not played very well. I laid aside my library book, I folded up my specs, because I thought my goldfish might have heard the call of sex. But it hadn't. I heard my goldfish yodeling when midnight rang the chime. I heard my goldfish yodeling just one too many time. I took it down the passage to save any further trouble, and I tried to hear it yodel when the cistern ceased to bubble, and I couldn't. Thank you. No, don't do. What are you doing? Don't do that.
Oh! Well, anyway, our little review was such a huge success that off we went on tour of the States and Canada. Mind you, in the middle of it, I got double pneumonia and pleurisy. 12 weeks in a hospital in Toronto, not my finest moment. But anyway, there I stayed until Noel lured me back across the pond to work with him again in a little something he wrote. Now, what was it called? The name quite escapes me.
It was Private Lives, as you very well know, my dear. When I wrote it, I knew that Gert, and only Gert, could play the lead. I sent her a telegram. Have written delightful new comedy. Stop. Good part for you. Stop. Wonderful one for me. Stop. Keep yourself free for auto production.
Have read new play. Stop. Nothing wrong that can't be fixed. Stop. Gertie.
The only thing that will need to be fixed is your performance. Stop. Noel. What I hadn't appreciated before was just how different our approach to things was. I was ordered, prepared. She was mercurial, chaotic. But on stage, she had in abundance every theatrical essential. She could be sad, witty, tragic, funny, and touching. Sometimes I would gaze across the stage at Gert, and she would quite take my breath away.
Oh, you silver-tongued old devil, you. Do you know it was that play that really cemented us as a pair, wasn't it? Coward and Lawrence, Noel and Gertie. Do you know, I like to think of it as the closest dramatic presentation of our relationship. But I suspect there were plenty of people out there who like to think we must be having some sort of romantic entanglement off stage as well. But that couldn't have been further from the truth, could it, darling?
I loved you quite desperately, but you just had that little something missing.
Oh, really? How big was that little something?
Ooh, about 8 inches, I should think.
Oh! When Noel wasn't being smutty, he did manage to write some truly beautiful music for private lives, and I simply adored singing this song. Well, in fact, I simply adored performing this whole scene.
What are you doing here?
I'm on my honeymoon.
Very interesting. So am I.
I hope you're enjoying it.
It hasn't started yet.
Neither is mine.
Are you happy?
Perfectly. Are you?
Ecstatically.
Have you known her long?
About 4 months. We met at a house party in Norfolk.
Very flat, Norfolk.
Was there need to be unpleasant?
It was no reflection on her, unless, of course, she made it flatter.
That orchestra has a remarkably small repertoire.
Yes, strange how potent cheap music is. Someday I'll find you, moonlight behind you, true to that dream I am dreaming. When I draw near you'll smile a little smile. For a little while we shall stand hand in hand. I'll leave you never, love you forever. All our past sorrow redeeming. Make it all come true. Say you need me too. Someday I'll find you again.
Always had a lovely voice, Amanda.
Thank you. What have you been doing these last years since we...
I went round the world after you and I.
Yes, of course. How was it?
The world?
Yes.
Very enjoyable.
China must be very interesting.
Very big China.
Yes. And Japan?
Very small.
And India? How was the Taj Mahal?
Unbelievable. A sort of dream.
That'd be the moonlight, I expect. Of course, you saw it in the moonlight.
Yes. Moonlight can be cruelly deceptive.
And it didn't look like a biscuit box, did it? You know, I've always thought that it might.
You're looking lovely in this damned moonlight, Amanda. Your skin is cool and clear, and your eyes are shining, and you're looking lovelier and lovelier every second as I look at you. You don't hold any mystery for me, my darling, do you mind? There isn't a particle of you that I don't know, remember, and want.
Thank you, my sweet. Someday I'll find you, moonlight behind you, true to the dream I am dreaming. When I draw near you, you'll smile a little smile. For a little while, we shall stand hand in hand.
I'll leave you never,
Love you forever, all our past sorrow
redeeming. May it all come true.
Say you need me too. Someday I'll find you again.
We made such an impression when we performed. People thought we were constantly working together.
But really, we only ever performed 3 plays together. Yes, just 3. Mind you, our next outing, tonight at 8:30, was really a series of 10 one-act plays. Yes, 10, because Noel never likes to do anything by halves. You really do know how to make it easy on a girl, don't you?
I wanted to write a little signature piece for me and Gert to show off our vaudeville and music hall tricks. So I wrote Red Peppers, about George and Lily Pepper, a married couple dragging a clapped-out act around the provincial theatres. Now, I think it takes a certain amount of aplomb to be good at performing badly. And I think Gert and I pulled it off magnificently. And now, ladies and gentlemen, with your very kind indulgence, my wife and myself will perform for you our famous nautical extravaganza. La 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 la. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? So the saying goes. We're not tight, but we're none too bright, great Scott. I don't suppose we've lost our way, we've lost our pain to make the thing complete. We've been and gone and lost the blooming fleet. Has anybody seen our ship? The HMS Peculiar. We've been on shore for a month or more, and when you see the captain, you should get what for. Heave ho, me hearties, sing glory, hallelujah. A lady bold as she could be, pinched our whistles at the Golden Key. Now we're into the devil of the deep blue sea. Has anybody seen our ship? La 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 la. Oh, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Iya, can I ask you something, please?
What is it?
A who, a walks, a like, a this. Oh.
I'm fascinated to know who walks like that. Here, I've got a little riddle to ask you.
You got a little riddle to ask me, Jack?
Why is getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning like a pig's tail?
Oh, I don't know, Jack. Why is getting up at 6 in the morning like a pig's tail?
Twirly.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
What should we do with the girls
On shore that lead our tours astray? What should be done with the drinks galore that make them pass away?
We got wet ears from our first 5 years, after that we lost control. And now we find we're up the blinking pole.
Has anybody seen our ship?
The
HMS disgusting.
with 3 guns after and no one for the promise to fight for the next World War. Heave home your hearties,
The quarter deck needs dusting. We had a big one pudding and a round of beer. Then the captain bought his cracker and we cried, oh dear, has anybody seen our ship? Has anybody seen our ship? The HMS Suggestive. She sailed away across the bay and we had no service at New Year's Day. Heave ho, me hearties, we're getting rather restive. Hold our money, spend a lot. The world forgetting by the world forgot. Now we haven't got a penny for the you-know-what. Has anybody seen us? Anybody seen us? Anybody seen our ship?
Well, it would seem that one can get out of breath even in the afterlife. I may need to go and rest under a gin, dear.
What a marvellous idea. Well, by 1940, we were both being marvellously successful on both sides of the Atlantic. Noel in Blighty, me in America. Well, I was doing a play called Skylark, and I thought it needed an out-of-town tryout. So off we trundled to the Cape Playhouse in Massachusetts. Now, Richard Aldrich ran the theatre. Now, he was just the sweetest, kindest, most handsome gent, and he quite swept me off my feet. So I did what any sensible girl would do and married him on my birthday. Well, after a very lazy, lengthy honeymoon, I was offered the lead in Lady in the Dark by Kurt Weill and Ira Gershwin. Well, I was dragging my heels, making my mind up. But it was Noel that steered me into my next role, and a very steady berth on Broadway.
Whilst Gert was re-establishing herself as the toast of Broadway, I had been engaged in a series of concert tours, ostensibly to entertain, but I was doing something much more exciting and undercover.
How intriguing. Do tell.
I was a spy for British intelligence.
He's being serious, isn't he?
My disguise was that of a merry playboy, a happy idiot. People would tell me all sorts of things, and there I was, gathering intelligence and sending documents all over the world. I could have made a career of espionage, you know.
Oh. So are you telling me you could have been quite good at this spying work, darling?
I was offered a high-profile job, but Churchill put the kibosh on that. He told me I should stick to entertaining people and writing plays. So I took the old bulldog's advice and rattled Blythe's spirit off in 5 days. I realised he may have had a point.
I don't quite know what to say. My career sounds terribly, well, shallow after all that. Why couldn't I have done something like that?
Because you're terrible at keeping secrets, Gert.
Oh!
One pink gin and you'd spill the beans.
Oh! Oh! Thank you.
Thank you.
Not you.
Besides, you were doing what you do best, being simply marvellous.
And still being marvellously in love with my darling Mr. A. He'd enlisted in the Navy during the war, and of course I had a standing arrangement to entertain the troops back in Blighty. So, off I went, and then on to France, and then the South Pacific. So I suppose you could say that we both did our bit for the war effort. Couldn't you, darling?
Oh, don't be a grumpy, Gert. Oh. These theatrical types. Anyway, love's dart had well and truly struck me by the end of the war. He was an actor by the name of Graham Payne. He'd been a bit of a sort of a protege of mine, on and off, over the years. Ever so sweet and attentive. I was besotted with him, and would be until the day I died. I met him at a party just a couple of years ago. He was rather of a hearty and ridiculous. But as I'd seen him on the screen, he cast a certain spell. I basked in his attraction for a couple of hours or so. His manners were a fraction too ridiculous. If he was real or not, I couldn't tell. But like a silly fool, I fell mad about the boy. I know it's stupid to be mad about the boy. I'm so ashamed of it, but must admit the sleepless nights I've had about the boy. On the silver screen, he melts my foolish heart in every single scene. Although I'm quite aware that here and there are traces of the cad about the boy.
Lord knows I'm not a fool girl. I really shouldn't care. Meanwhile, I was busy looking for my next project, and it pretty much landed in my lap. Oh, my business manager lent me a book about Anna Leon Owens and the time she spent teaching at the court of Siam. Well, I happen to think it might just make a glorious musical, and I had hoped initially that Noel would consider writing the score, but he passed on it, along with the opportunity to work with me again.
You say that as if I did it out of spite. You know perfectly well I was writing my own tunes.
Oh, thankfully I did manage to find someone who was up for the job. Well, two someones, actually. Rogers and Hammerstein. And the rest, as they say, is history. So, I spent the rest of 1951 getting to know all of those wonderful songs and getting to realise quite what an enormous job I'd made for myself. There's a very ancient saying, but a true and honest thought, that when you become a teacher, by your pupils you'll be taught. As a teacher I've been learning, so forgive me if I boast, for I've now become an expert on the subject I like most.
Getting to know you.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me, getting to know you, putting it my way, but nicely. You are precisely my cup of tea. Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I'm with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly I'm bright and breezy because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day. My cup of tea. Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I am with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly I'm bright and breezy because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day. The King and I was a huge hit, but my goodness, it was exhausting. I had to take some time off from the show and have a rest. But I never really got better. I collapsed backstage at a matinee. I spent a few days at home and then was admitted to the New York Presbyterian Hospital. And I never left.
Gert died of liver and abdominal cancer on September the 6th, 1952. 5,000 people lined the intersection of East 55th Street and 5th Avenue on the day of her funeral. She was buried in the champagne-coloured gown she wore for Shall We Dance each night in The King and I. She was the first person they dimmed the lights for on Broadway. And I never got to say goodbye. I remember writing in my diary, for all her overacting and silliness, I have never known her to do a mean or unkind thing. I am terribly, terribly unhappy I shall never see her again. To begin with, if you please, sing a scale for me. Take a breath and then reprise in a different key. All my life I will remember knowing you, all the pleasures I have found in showing you the different ways that one may phrase the changing light and changing sea, happiness that must fly, memories that must die, melodies that must fade, dusty and forgotten by and by.
Learning scales will never seem so sweet again, till our destinies shall let us meet again. The will of fate may come too late, when I'm recalling the hours we've had. Why should the foolish tears tremble across the years? Why should I feel so sad, treasuring the memories of these days? Always I'll see you again whenever spring breaks through again. Time may lie heavy between, but what has been is past forgetting. This sweet melody across the years will come to me. Oh, my world may go awry, in my heart will ever lie just the echo of a sigh. Oh, ducks, this'll never do. We're getting all maudlin. Oh, dear. So, I died.
Yes.
Everyone missed me terribly. Were there any tributes to me, darling?
Oh, oodles, my dear. They even made a film about you.
Oh, how divinely delightful. Who played me?
Julie Andrews.
Oh, never heard of her. And how did you get along without me, darling?
Be fair, dear. I'm not used to being without you. I mourned you, of course. I missed you. And every time I wrote something new, I always heard your voice first. All my hit plays were behind me now.
Oh, don't say that, Noel.
My dear, if there's something that death and the afterlife give you, it's a sense of perspective.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, in 1955, my Las Vegas cabaret act was televised, and by that point, I'd been around for so long, they started reviving all my old plays. I was frightfully flattered, of course, but when one is known for one's wit and sharp mind, the day those things start to fade is the day you take stock. I'd been having trouble remembering my lines, and I retired. Before it got the best of me.
Noel died of heart failure at his home in Jamaica on the 26th of March 1973. Had I been around to mourn him, I think I may have shed more tears than he would have cared for. Oh, Ducks, again, no maudlin again.
Come on, Ducks, let's pull ourselves together. Let's give them one last number before they send us to an eternal abode.
Oh, which one, dear?
Perhaps a comment on the world today. You know, quite for no reason, we're here for the season and high as a kite, living in era with Maud and Capthera, which couldn't be right.
Everyone's here and frightfully gay. Nobody cares what people say. And the Riviera is really much queerer than Rome at its height. On Wednesday night, I went to a marvellous party with Nunu and Nada and Nell. It was in the fresh air, and we went as we were, and we stayed as we were, which was hell.
Poor Grace started singing at midnight and didn't stop singing till 4. We knew the excitement was bound to begin when Laura got blind onto Bonnie and Jim and scratched her veneer with a Cartier pen. I couldn't have liked it more. I went to a marvellous party. We didn't start dinner till 10. And young Bobby Carr did a stunt at the bar with a lot of extraordinary men.
Dear Barbara came in with a tortoise, which shattered us all to the core. The Grand Duke was dancing a foxtrot with me when Cyril ran in, screamed fiddle-dee-dee, ripped off his trousers and jumped in the sea. I couldn't have liked it more. I went to a marvellous party. Elise made an entrance with May, and you'd never have guessed from her fisherman's vest that her bust had been whittled away.
Poor Lulu got fried on Chianti and talked about esprit de corps. Maurice made a couple of passes at Gus, and Freddie, who hates any kind of a fuss, did half the big apple and twisted his truss. I couldn't like it more.
I went to a marvellous party. I must say, the fun was intense.
We all had to do what the people we knew would be doing 100 years hence.
We talked about growing old gracefully, and Elsie, who's 74, said,
A, it's a matter of being sincere, and B, if you're supple, you've nothing to fear.
Then she swung upside down from the grand chandelier. I couldn't have liked it more.
Well, I think it must be time for trial by jury.
Oh, dear.
I believe some of our virtual voters are ready to send us to heaven or hell.
Oh, goodness. Yes. Well, dears, all you've got is about 10 seconds to send us a little message there, and all of your votes, whether we're going to heaven or hell, will appear as some sort of a marvellous telegrammatical message on our wonderful angel's device. Anyway, counting down, that time's probably all about up, I would think.
Well, that's all so sophisticated and technological, isn't it? You'd never guess the budget went on the frock.
Anyway, hopefully you've all voted now. Darling, right. Oh, looks like it's heaven for us, dear. At least we'll be together and the weather will be pleasant.
I do hope it'll be wonderfully serene.
Yes, full of divine people and sophisticated cocktail parties. Oh.
You have a message from God.
Oh. Thank you. Right, yes it is. Oh dear.
What did she say?
There's no gin in heaven.
Oh, balls!
Listen to the strain, it plays once more for us. There it is again, the past in store for us. Wake in memory some forgotten song to to break the rhythm, driving us along and make harmony again, a last encore for us. Play, orchestra, play, play something sweet and light and gay. For we must have music, we must have music to drive our fears away. While our illusions swiftly fade for us, let's have an orchestra score. In the confusions the years have made for us, serenade for us just once more. Life needn't be grey, though it is changing day by day. Though a few old dreams may decay, play, orchestra, play. Life needn't be grey, though it is changing day by day.